What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Legit Whiskey Reviews, and on today's episode I'm reviewing Ardbeg Wee Beastie 5-year-old. This is an Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. This is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and Oloroso sherry casks. And this one came out, I believe, either last year or early this year. But anyways, as far as this one, a lot of people were surprised when this one came out because it's pretty much priced at almost the same as the Ardbeg 10-year, and this is only, like I said, it's a 5-year-old. So a lot of people were, kind of skeptical, including myself, when this first came out. But I opened it up a little bit. That's what I usually do before my reviews, and I noticed it was way less aggressive than Ardbeg is, especially for somebody that that may not be used to something like super smoky and peaty. So but I did notice that this one carried more ash. But I've had it open for a while, maybe like a week or two, let it open up a little bit, and I'm gonna get into this and see what we get out of it now. On the nose. So the first thing that's gonna hit you on this is gonna be like I said, that ash. But I noticed that when I first opened this bottle, it was very, very ashy, like a lot of ash came through. But as far as now, I'm still getting it on the nose, and it's one of the first notes that I pick up, but it's not as much as it was when I first opened the bottle. And then it's very sweet. There's a lot of sweetness in here. There's a lot of honey. You get a little spiciness in here as well. By the way, it's sticking pretty good to the glass. It's pretty oily. There's a little bit of brine. There's a little bit of like the sea salt. And then towards the back, there's a slight, I'm picking up like a little bit of a slight chocolatey note. And I want to say it's more of a dark chocolate, more than milk chocolate. But it's not coming through, like it's not something that stands out. Like, it's in there though. It's like a slight chocolatey note. And then I'm getting like a dried fruit, maybe like a plum or a raisin, like that type of that's what is coming through on the nose. But it smells really good. I like the way it's opening up. So let's go to the palate. Cheers. So on the palate, I definitely pick up the smoke, but I wouldn't say it's something with a ton of smoke. It's way less than the Ardbeg 10-year. And for me, a lot of people, some people might not think Laphroaig is super smoky, but for me, I think even Laphroaig, the smoke comes through more than on this one. This one, very fruity, very sweet on the front. I'm getting a lot of honey, and that dried fruit aspect does come through. I'm getting a lot of spiciness towards the back, maybe a little bit of pepper, but I want to say it's like very, very spicy, and it coats the palate pretty well. I'm still feeling the finish, probably like a medium to long finish. It's still on my palate, I still feel it, but let's try it again. yeah, so I'm still picking up the same. It's staying consistent as far as the ash and the amount of smoke that it has. But then you get the sweetness right after that. Very sweet, lots of honey, and maybe like a raisin. I'm not necessarily picking up the chocolate note on the palate. I did pick it up on the nose, but it's not coming through on the palate. I think what sticks out to me the most in the palate is the spiciness. It's very spicy, like that pepper and that spice is definitely showing up in the back. And I really like it because it balances out the smoke and the honey, the sweetness from the front. It just blends well with that spice and pepper toward the back. This is really good. And then obviously the brine and the sea salt type note that I'm getting is coming through on the palate as well. But typically in my reviews, as a lot of you may know, I don't typically put water in my whiskeys, but for something like this, I usually do, just to test it out, see what happens, because a lot of times it changes, not necessarily for the better, but it does change the scotch. So I want to try that out on this one. And by the way, the price on this one, I'll give it 2 drops. So the price on this one is about $40, I believe. It's right around the same as the Ardbeg 10, and this one is 47.4% ABV. So has a pretty good proof for a scotch. I'll let it mix in there with the water into the nose. So the ash really died down a lot. I'm getting a lot of the sweet notes coming through more now. That honey is really coming through, along with a little bit of maybe like a tropical fruits. It's just a slight note of like a tropical type fruit, and then the raisin is definitely coming through more now. But I think what the water did to this, as far as the nose, it brought out a lot of the sweet notes, and it really, the smoke and the ash died down a lot. But let's try it on the palate. So on the palate, you do get some of the smoke and the ash, but it's not as sweet on the palate with the water as it was on the nose. So the nose, it comes through way sweeter than what it actually is on the palate. But as far as the palate, you still get the sweetness, you get the honey, the raisin type note. I feel like you still pick up like the sea salt, and the spice is definitely still there, but the smoke and the ash died down. So as far as for me, it's good. Either way, you're gonna get, it is different. But for my personal preference, I'm just gonna go without the water, because I do like the smoke and the ash in the front. It just like makes it a complete experience for me, because it's kind of lacking in that aspect when it comes to the nose and especially the palate when you add the water to it. But it's either way, this is a solid release by Ardbeg. A lot of people were skeptical, and I think they did a good job. It being just 5 years old, that brought out a lot of the skepticism. But as far as my grade, I'm gonna give it an 89, and I'm gonna give it an 89 because the price. You can get the Ardbeg 10 year for the same, pretty much the same price. So as far as value, I would go with the 10 year over this one. But this is still a solid release. If you haven't tried it, I would definitely try it. It is good. It's enjoyable. It brings something different. But as far as the value is what made me give it an 89 and not something higher. But before I close out here, I want to give a special shout out to Whiskey Quest. Congratulations on your 800 subscribers. That's an amazing feat. So go check out his channel. I'm gonna try to leave a link at the bottom with his channel, but go ahead and watch his videos, give him a like and subscribe, and keep it legit and do it for the love of whiskey. Cheers.